Bullet!
The recapitulation decreases as the podcast is fired.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Kamen Up Next podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Tokusatsu, mostly Kamen Rider, though. I'm your host and resident Tokusatsu expert, a giant robot, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Jesse and Nick.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
So I just want to start off this episode by saying thank you. Thank you for watching and sticking around while we work on this new project. We're just trying different things, trying to see what works and what sticks, and just smoothing out the process as we go. So I appreciate anybody who watches and enjoys and is with us on this journey. Thank you very much. So today we're talking about Kamen Rider 01, specifically episodes 8 to 11. So we're gonna jump right into that. Is there anything you guys want to say to start off?
No, just to say, if anyone's been interested in Kamen Rider, if they've seen our first episode or what have you, and you want to jump in and join us in on the conversation at any point in time, well, you're only going to have to watch 11 episodes, so get to it.
I was also going to say, if you're watching this live and you haven't seen our first episode, you can go to a Giant Robot TV on YouTube and find it.
It's where all of the recorded episodes are going. I do remember that last week I wanted to talk about how in the Metsubojinrai hideout they have a mannequin ass, or a mannequin butt, and I thought that was the weirdest thing that they could possibly have as set dressing because it makes literally no sense.
So you know what I noticed about that in the last few episodes we watched? I don't know if you've seen it in like the Aruto's headquarters and where the satellite Zaya thing is.
Yeah.
There's the front part of a mannequin on the wall. So it's like kind of
really. That's
okay. The front part of the ass, or
no. Well, it's the whole shit like torso.
The torso part,
The front.
Right? So in Metsubojinrai, they just have the bottom, and it just shows the butt.
But it like cuts off at the legs around.
Yeah, it cuts off the legs and then the top part. It's literally just the thighs and butt, and like down to
it's got
like,
the whole
knee.
torso at Kiden headquarters.
At Hidden Intelligence,
I
interesting.
thought it was interesting. Yeah.
It is pretty interesting, actually.
but with regards to the ass, though,
Yeah.
do you think that was a conscious decision? So they obviously have the full mannequin now. Now that's confirmed. So they disassembled it and said, you know what, we're just going to take the ass part.
The people creating the set design were like, what do we put on this shelf? And there's like knickknacks. That I think there's like some books, but also like some electronic stuff. And then the bottom, just in the corner, is just a mannequin ass.
Yeah, just to say, screw these guys.
It's just like
our villain.
It was a decision. Somebody made that decision, and now I can't unsee it or unremember it.
Do we want to break down the episodes and go through each individual one, or?
Yes, we can. I have all of the synopses.
Much shorter than last time.
I have the shorter synopses here, so I can go through the short ones, then we can talk about them as we go. So, in episode 8, we are introduced to in episode 8, we find out that the Humagears at first were created sort of to be medical staff for hospitals. So we're brought to a hospital, and we see all the medical staff there. It's a lot of there's a lot of Humagears. We also find out that Ames was working on a weapon called a Geiger that Metsubojinrai steals from them and uses it to corrupt the hospital staff. And then towards the end of the episode, there's a big climactic fight, and Hirobi nearly kills Fuwa with his finisher. And that's also the episode that we find out that Jin and Hirobi are Humagear.
The big reveal.
The big reveal is that Jin and Hirobi are Humagear.
Just Hirobi specifically. We already knew Jin was a Humagear made by Hirobi.
True.
But we didn't know
Right.
that Hirobi was.
The rest of the cast didn't know that Jin was a Humagear. It was a real. It was a reveal for them to see that.
True.
They thought that they were just a hacker, like a human hacker group hacking the Humagears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this episode, the first thing I remarked was that this is the first time, I think up to this point, we've only had like standalone stories within each episode. And this time was the first time that we've had it kind of broken up into a 2-part story arc.
Right.
And we've seen that in Kamen Rider before, but specifically for 01, this is the first time they've decided, okay, I guess we're going to break it down, the structure, into 2-episode arcs now. And all of the episodes that we watched since then have been broken down into 2-episode arcs. I wonder if that's going to carry forward or if it's going to jump back at some point. But
I was thinking the same thing with specifically the 4 episodes we watched. Although it looks like, no spoilers for the later episodes in this podcast, but it looks like there may be continuations in the next episode we watch. But it definitely did get like double vibes from the 2-episode arc.
yeah.
I will say that it starts to get like more and more. It's not just going to be 2-episode arcs anyway.
Yeah.
We are hitting the point in the show where they start a longer arc for the story, and so it's not going to be like self-contained anymore.
Yeah.
But for
like,
the episode, oh, sorry, man.
I was just gonna say, like in Double, it felt like there was literally just the one ongoing arc. You know, so did I say Double? I meant Build.
Right. Yeah, Build was
It's
definitely like
so we're somewhere in between right now.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what did you want to say, Nick?
Well, for the episode specifically, I think it's pretty cool because it allows them to do a little bit of world building within there.
Yeah.
And it plays into our reality too, because like looking at the medical Humagear is like obvious, and it's true that medical staff are especially overworked. So it makes sense to have robots in that setting to help out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially now,
Mhm.
given you know the way things are now, I think it would be pretty cool if we lived in that type of society here.
Yeah, I mean that was the main purpose of making the Humagears originally was for medical work.
Yeah.
Which is what we found out. So a couple of my favorite scenes from this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in the hospital when Naruto does his classic terrible jokes, and then Izu's just looking around for who asked. Just the best scene.
That's probably the
in the
highlight of
series
the
so far.
episode. Yeah.
And she concluded that nobody did. So,
This episode was just like a gold mine for Izu, though, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
she did a lot of stuff. Like
these 2 episodes
that.
for sure. There was a lot of Izu stuff going on.
Yeah, like there was that one, which was like the first thing she did, which was adorable. Was like, you know, who asked? Then in the hospital, like still, Fuwa was there, and Fuwa was being super racist against the robots and everything. It was kind of being classic Fuwa. And then Aruto was there, just kind of making faces at him, and then Izu was like, "Oh shit," you know. And she's like pulls him back so that Fuwa doesn't see him. But then Aruto winds up being smacked against the wall, like when she pulls him back, and that was pretty funny too. And then like when Aruto was doing his catchphrase where you know points his thumb at himself and says, you know, I'm the only one that can stop you, Izu was like copying it in the background, like she was doing it too.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Izu is the queen of the background gag.
Yeah.
If she's
I think we have to pick.
If she's not the one talking, she's always doing something like funny or adorable.
We're gonna have to pay close attention to her.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
scene after scene.
100%.
Because there was also like when Assassin, like when Dodo was defeated, because there was that really cool combat sequence where she was handing Naruto all the. It was in this episode, right, where she was handing Naruto all of the different progress keys so he could cycle through the different powers to fight Dodo.
I think so. I have that note for the next episode, but it might have been this episode.
Yeah, I think it might have been this one, because then she hands him like all the keys, and
Yeah.
then like he defeats Dodo, and she's just like,
My
"Woohoo."
note for
Yeah,
that.
she's clapping in the background.
My note for that is Izu is like Ankh but better.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Was it in this episode too that Hirobi did his like first on-screen henshin as
It's
well?
a different episode, Vesperia. Yes,
Yes, it was.
this was the first time we see him henshin on screen. Yes.
Yeah, everything about his henshin was all new in this episode.
His poison is super cool. His look is super dope.
The way he just gets stung by the scorpion.
Yeah.
And then that henshins him is really cool.
I think one of my favorite parts about Hirobi is he carries around a katana, but he doesn't use it.
Well, I think that's like Jin and Hirobi, right? So Jin has the gun and Hirobi has the katana, and they both carry around real ass weapons in this thing.
Yeah, but
Which is just a stylistic choice, I guess. But the katana and his whole style look freaking awesome.
Jin used the gun though, is the thing. Hirobi just carries it around to be threatening.
I think he twirled it once or twice.
Yeah, he'll point it at people or he'll like do stuff with it, but he doesn't like use it.
Yeah,
and then when he transforms, his weapon is the other weapon he jacks from Ames, the bow, the arrow, attached arrow. Yeah. It's not even a katana. He gets a bow. So like the katana is like thematically really cool, but he doesn't use it. It's like strictly for threatening people.
Yeah, it's just
I just think it's funny. I like it's not a complaint. I think it's really great that he carries around. He also wears like sort of samurai-ish, like he's got those baggy pants, I think. So he has the look, but it like doesn't translate over to his rider powers at all.
I can easily see Hirobi like animated as an anime character.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I picture it in my mind.
I agree.
Go ahead.
He also has a very punchable face, in my opinion. When he like, he has like that like half smirk that is just. Want to punch him.
I think it's part of it is his head wrap or his head band that he wears that covers like this much of his head, so you barely see his eyes. I think that's what does it for me. And it looks like his hair is like standing up.
Yeah,
that's what does it for me.
This is also the episode where Assassin really like started to grow on me because he just goes around making those funny faces.
Yeah, Assassin is amazing.
I mean, like we'll get into him more as the like because I feel like the 4-episode chunk that we went through this week really focused a lot on Assassin as a whole in general.
He got a lot of character development.
He got a huge amount.
They put a lot of emphasis on him and his ki and getting stronger as he fights.
Yeah,
for sure.
I really like that character a lot. I started to this episode. Like, not that he had like a huge amount of spotlight this episode, but it was still pretty cool to see bits and pieces of him here and there. Just with those funny faces that he was making.
He's simultaneously like got no character and then a lot of character. Like he doesn't like show any emotion, but then he does those like goofy like head tilts and stuff, and you're like, okay, Mr. Deadpan, but also not. It's
got a little bit
really
of an
funny.
upgrade. He also got a little bit of an upgrade with the 2 swords now. With
yeah, well I think that's part of his key evolving is he gets power upgrades. I think his design changed a little bit too. Like
it starts getting a little bit cooler.
Yeah,
I will say that like in this episode, I was just kind of starting to feel like, oh man, I really hope this is like one of those situations where like Night Rogue or Bloodstock, like we get like Dodo becoming like Kamen Rider Dodo or something like that, or Kamen Rider Assassin at some point. Don't spoil it for me. I don't want to be spoiled, but that's
I'm not
something
saying anything.
I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping for it, man.
Kamen Rider Dodo.
That would be really cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
So also, okay, Fua in this episode, it didn't have a lot of spotlight, but he was just like super, like this is just a racist man against the human gear, man. Every time he was on screen, he was just like,
well,
I mean, yeah.
It sets up like the next episode. I think they really reinforce his hatred of the human gears, and then the stuff that happens in the next episode is like it just makes that more powerful because you really see how much he has to change.
Yeah, and he also finds out in this episode that Horobi was responsible for Daybreak, and he just goes
Yeah,
ballistic.
that's
right. So,
Well, that's the thing, right? Is it reinforces because first he was like, it's the Human Gears, and then he saw with the video that it was like a Kamen Rider or whatever, and he was like, oh, it's Mechibojinrai, who he thought were humans. So he was like a little bit slacking on Hiden for that because he's like, okay, I guess it was humans and not Human Gears. But now he finds out that uh that Kamen Rider was Horobi, that he finds out that Horobi is not human and is in fact a Humagear. So he's back to, oh, Humagears caused Daybreak. So he's like all over the place these last like couple episodes with how he feels about the Humagear.
Yeah.
the last note I had for this episode was so we get introduced to the Gaigar when Yua's like walking through the assembly line and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Metsubo Jinrai comes in at one point and like steals the attaché arrow with the other stuff. And then like Yua goes in and just like glances over at the Gaigar, and she's like, "Oh, great, they're fine." But like no one bothers to actually inspect them a little bit further to be like, like, oh, okay, they're still here. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. Nobody. She doesn't check to make sure, see if they're hacked or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, because that really comes back and bites them later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh.
My last note for this episode is just another one of my favorite scenes. Was Fua fighting Hirobi,
Yeah.
and he was in his punching Kong form, but then he took out his little tiny regular gun, and it looked like he just had the tiniest guns in his giant punching Kong hands, and it was so fucking funny.
Oh yeah,
Was
that was classic.
very good. I have two notes that we didn't talk about. 01 driver is the coolest, which should have been brought up earlier. But the 01 driver is the coolest. And then I have Sting Dystopia, which is Hirobi's finisher. And it's
super cool.
Freaking badass.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way he just like point blank kicks Fua like right in the chest. Super cool. I love Hirobi's design. The purple with the yellow eyes is just like top notch rider design.
It's been a while for me to see a Scorpion themed rider too. I think the last one I saw was Kamen Rider Sword in Kabuto. And it's a breath of fresh air because the Scorpion theme is always beautiful to see every time around.
It's and his henshin sequence is just amazing. The Scorpion is so cool. Getting stung directly in the chest is so cool.
Yeah, the way that the Scorpion gets summoned and then like stings him in the chest and then it wraps its claws and legs all around him.
So good.
For the Forced Rise is really, really cool.
Yeah.
All the henshins so far have been pretty top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's henshin sequence is super fun to watch.
I'm always sad when they like cut it short in the fight, or
when they do a quick one. Like, yeah,
but I want to hear the text to speech and see the cool animations.
Absolutely, I agree. So moving on to episode 9. So at the end of episode 8, basically is when Hirobi finishes Fua. So the last thing we see of Fua is him unconscious on the ground. So obviously you're thinking the worst. So in episode 9, it starts off with him getting rushed to the hospital. So we find out he's not dead, but kind of, really rough, critical condition. He then decides to shut down the Humagear at the hospital for fear that Metsubo Jinrai is going to corrupt them as well as the ones they had corrupted previously, I should say, because they did corrupt a lot of the Humagear nurses and doctors in the previous episode.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that it wasn't Naruto's decision. Well, he didn't know what to do, so he got overruled because he couldn't make a decision.
Yeah. Yua, who is at the hospital with Fua, sees all of the human gear get shut off, so she rushes back to Hiden Intelligence and convinces Aruto to turn them back on because she sees one of the doctors has like a mark in his neck where he would have been hacked, but he had resisted it. So she concludes that some of them straight up just can't be hacked. So that convinces Aruto to turn them back on. And he decides to go fight Metsubojin Rai.
Also worth noting that the Humagear, or the person that was going to do the surgery on Fua to save his life, is a Humagear, and that's why Fua is like desperate to get the Humagears back up.
Aruto. Fua is unconscious at this point.
I said Yua, I thought. Yaiba. Yaiba is desperate to get that.
Yaiba is desperate, right? Because Fua is gonna die if he doesn't get the operation. Yeah, I misunderstood.
Speaking of Fua, though, for this episode,
Yeah.
because they like shut down the robot staff pretty early on, I was just imagining in my head that Fua was just unconscious and sitting in that gurney until the doctors reactivated the whole time.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what happened. Yeah, because when they get turned back on, the doctor he reboots and he gets up and he sees Fua. They're still in the corridor. The nurse is like just like keeping his eye on him, and the doctor gets up. He's like, "We gotta go." So yeah,
Oh
he was just sitting in that gurney for however long it took Yua or Yaiba to get over there.
Okay, but to that point, like even for this is like a show that's aimed at a younger audience, so we give it a lot of slack, right? But I think even you said it while we were watching it, Zach, that like that whole like Human Gear crisis situation where they like decide to power them down was handled just
Awful.
stupidly.
That was the
Yeah.
worst decision. Like I don't care. Like for a business standpoint, like it's bad. You're already understaffed. There's a lot of injured people there already. Like why
Yeah.
would you turn
The
off the human gears?
The options were leave them on and maybe they get turned evil and hurt people, or turn them off and all the hurt people
And for
die
sure,
because
yeah,
there's no one to care for them.
exactly.
But even if you're gonna turn them off, right? Like even if you make that decision as a company, like you call the hospital and say, "Hey, your doctors are gonna get shut off." Like, here's
There's
some
that.
advance warning.
But
the
like
guy could be in the middle of surgery, like like cutting someone open,
Yeah.
and he just gets shut off.
it's the fact that Aruto was not gonna go and stop Metsubojin Rai anyway. Like I get they had a Geiger and they had like the Magia and stuff, but it's like, so you're even turning off the human gear is not stopping Metsubojin Rai from going and attacking the hospital. Like they're still on their way there. They I guess they ended up not attacking anybody, but that's because Aruto kind of showed up and stopped them. And I think Yaiba also was there because that would make sense. But I don't know, turning off the human gear just seemed like the wrong move to me personally. It felt more like it was the vice president wanted to do it just to save face for the company, but it's like, hello?
Yeah, it would still be bad PR if everyone died.
Yeah,
because
if you turn off the
robots.
human gear and then 1,000, however many people were there, died because they couldn't get cared for, that's still bad for you. Like
It's especially worse since last episode they actually went out of their way to show like exactly how helpful those human gear were in the hospital.
yeah, exactly.
They're like carrying people around. Like one actually, like the angel nurse like stopped a pregnant lady from like falling.
Yeah, she
and,
caught the pregnant woman. Yeah.
like they're doing all this stuff. So you just imagine, okay, they're just like powering down in the middle of all these things. That pregnant lady's gonna fall down. That patient that's being carried is just gonna get dropped, and like, it's just,
Yeah.
you have that fresh in your head from the previous episode, so it makes it that much worse.
It was very frustrating for me. I just thought that it was just such a bad decision.
Yeah, but then beyond that, Aruto has a really cool moment afterwards where he's like, you know what? Yeah, this is stupid. We're gonna turn these things back on, and I'm gonna deal with the
Yeah,
Geiger myself,
absolutely.
even if I'm alone. And then like Yua, I think, is just like, you can't. You're
Yeah,
not strong
he
enough.
he runs to fight, and she's like, are you sure? And then she
Yeah.
talks to Izu for a minute. I think
Yeah,
she
'cause
does
she
end
just
up
runs
helping,
off.
right?
She gives Izu the mammoth, the
Right.
broken mammoth key.
The mammoth key that she stole from
yeah.
Metsubo Jinrai.
Yeah.
And then that's what she gives the key to Izu. Izu's like, oh, I remember something like this, and then she finds the schematics for it, and then has Zaya build a progress key for Naruto.
Breaking
Mammoth.
Yeah.
mammoth.
Breaking Mammoth, which is just a 01 mech.
Yeah.
It's just a mech for 01.
Counter Geiger.
Yeah. We also see at the end of the episode the footage that Yaiba had taken of the assassin transforming and then attacking people. So previously they had said that only Humagear with red eyes will attack people, so their eyes will turn red and then they'll go berserk. But they go out of their way, or Yaiba goes out of the way to show that the assassin's eyes are still blue when he transforms, which scares a lot of people, and it kind of reinforces for the public that, oh, maybe not all of the Humagear are going berserk because they're being hacked by Metsubo Jinrai.
Yeah, and that's so powerful because it speaks to like actual like AI possible like ethics and problems too. Because what winds up happening is like, you're thinking as a human, you have control over these devices. So you have this mechanism where you say, okay, these things are under our control when their eyes are blue. And when their eyes are red, then they're hacked and someone's using them as weapons. But when their eyes are blue and they attack you, that means they're doing it of their own volition. So it's like,
Yeah.
That's what becomes scary. Is you're then in that moment saying, okay, these aren't just tools anymore. These are things, thinking things that are attacking us now, and it becomes like that whole thing.
Yeah, this is the episode 2. They talk about the Humagear reaching singularity. They talk about it more in this episode. And those are the Humagear that Metsubo Jinrai target, are those who are about to reach full singularity and become self-aware.
Yeah. Didn't Yaiba like ask Izu if she's achieved singularity or something? And
I think
like,
so. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
That's
about.
that's how it was
Like,
brought
of
up
course
in
you
that
wouldn't.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode is when we see that leaked footage, or Izu sees it on like the news, and then Yaiba shows up about to ask something, and she's like, you leaked that, right? And Yaiba's face just immediately sours, and she's like, no, and walks away.
We literally see the footage of Yaiba, like from I assume Izu's point of view. I think we talked about this. It wasn't clear if it was Izu's point of view or just another Humagear that Izu like accessed the memories of. But you see Yaiba filming the assassin from a different point of view.
So Izu knows for sure, but obviously Yaiba denies it and pieces the heck out of there.
Yeah, gets pissed off a little bit.
Yeah.
So Hirobi is OP. We find out in this episode because so Aruto gets the breaking mammoth key. He turns into his mech form. He beats.
That's not in this episode.
That's not in this episode.
That's not in this episode.
He fights another Geiger.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, all right.
With the finisher.
So did I put that in the wrong episode? I don't think so. I mean, Hirobi is still OP in both episodes. He just straight up like doesn't he take on both Aruto and Yaiba like alone in this one?
Maybe, but I think Yaiba fights.
I think they just kind of dip in this episode. I think. Yeah. I think Aruto gets breaking mammoth, and then he fights the Geigar and like defeats it, and then they just kind of like leave. I don't think there's a conflict with Hirobi in this episode, but in the next ones, there's some really cool fighting with Hirobi in the.
I think he fights
game.
Hirobi before he fights the Geiger. Because he
Possible.
leaves before Izu makes the key for breaking Mammoth, so he gets there before Izu does. So yeah, I think he fights Hirobi for a bit, and then Izu shows up with the key, and he fights the Geiger. The Geiger.
Can we talk about Izu just like he's walking and sliding then to
Getting
hand
over
that mammoth key to
Izu-
Naruto to enter?
Izu is fast as hell, and you don't even know the half of it.
It was just so funny.
Izu's the best.
She's so fast that she's got to skid to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
That was really great. You know, despite Fua being in this episode for like, I don't know, a couple minutes, he had some really good moments in there. Like that oh shit face he had when he finds out, like he just like wakes up and he's like, oh crap, I got saved by a human gear.
That's right. Yeah, Fu is forced to start reassessing how he feels about human gears because his life literally was saved by a human gear doctor. He talks about it at the end.
Yeah, for a man that had like 2 minutes in the episode
Yeah.
to talk, he actually like had that growth.
He says he's got two conflicting memories: one of the human gears trying to kill him, and one of a human gear saving his life. So
Is that when he's in the wheelchair talking
Yeah.
to Naruto?
yeah,
That was, and then Naruto makes a joke and he cracks up laughing and hurts himself, and he's like, "You gotta warn me before you make a joke like that."
Yeah. Oh my god.
Seeing those two characters start to get closer is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like too, and don't get me wrong, I like that there's no undertones. It's strictly like they're just like becoming friends.
Yeah, it's
I don't dislike it, but like there was a lot of that stuff like in Double and O's and Build where there was like a little bit of like boy love undertones, which is fine. I loved it personally. I thought it was great. But I like having one where they can just be friends.
It also like depends on the characters. Like for those other characters in the other series,
Yeah.
that kind of fit.
They
But
they
it
had
wouldn't
more
fit for Naruto and
that's it.
Solo.
They had more chemistry in that way. Naruto and Fuwa don't have that kind of chemistry.
Like Shotaro and Philip, you mean it's just got to be the way it is.
Yeah, that absolutely. Shotaro and Philip are OTP, 100%. I actually have in my notes that there's sexual tension between Fuwa and Yaiba,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is 100%,
100%.
100% true.
Yeah,
Zero question.
it gets more intense in the later episodes.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Oh yeah. Okay. So all right.
No, but yeah, I think it starts in episode 8. Like it starts a little bit, and then you see it starts growing more and more for sure.
Since we're wrapping down on this episode and we had that you're telling me moment, I just want to interject with a fun little anecdote from the other day. We have a time.
Yeah.
Well, we were editing together the intro for this episode, and we were trying to figure out what the name of Vulcan's finisher was. So Zach here asks his Google Home what the name of the finisher is, and it goes, "I don't know anything about that. Did you mean is Fua a Humagear?" And we're just like, "What? No! Stop! Spoilers!"
That was beautiful. That was that was definitely beautiful.
Hey, also before we move on to the next episode, do either of you know what the text to speech was for Breaking Mammoth? Because I don't.
Oh.
Did it have one?
I don't know.
Oh man, we need to figure that out. We need to figure that out.
I can look it up right now.
Yeah, I didn't know. But anyway, I love that the Google Home knew that we were talking about Fua when we asked about Kamen Rider Vulcan, but it didn't know what the answer to what its finisher was called. Like how?
That was amazing. I almost want to like trip it again to see if it would do it. We can jump into the next episode while Zach looks up the
Yeah,
text
you
to
wanna grab that?
Yeah, so in the last episode we finished the 2-episode arc for the medical situation. So that gets handled. The Geiger gets taken care of, and then in this episode, because of all the bad press that Hidden Intelligence was getting, with the assassin transformation footage that was leaked to the press by Yaiba and all that stuff. Keaton decides to make a drama TV series starring a Human Gear actor and co-starring like a well-known actual actor, like some star whose name is Shinya Owada, to boost their image as a PR stunt. During the course of filming and everything, the assassin Humagear, who gets resurrected again, starts learning from the actor Shinya Owada. He starts watching his movies and he starts getting like a little bit obsessed with him because he thinks he used to play like that actor used to play assassins in like movies and stuff. So he sees him as like a legendary assassin and wants to learn from him to become stronger. So we see Dodo start evolving there. And so basically the format is they're filming this movie, and then Metsubo Jinrai comes in and attacks the movie set to cause havoc. And the movie set is being guarded by Ames. So Ames comes in and drives off the Magia. During the course of those events, we get some moments between Yua and Fua. So Yaiba gives a new progrise key to, I think it's a hedgehog key to.
I thought it was revolver.
I think it says revolver, but it's like something hedgehog.
It wasn't it not Gatling?
Yeah, it's like Gatling hedgehog or hedgehog Gatling.
Okay, but I think when he clicks it, it says revolver.
Yeah, when he clicks it, it says revolver, Gatling Kaban shot or something like that. But anyway, he puts it into the shotgun and he blasts away Dodo once more, and he takes care of the situation. That's basically what happens in the episode, right? And as that's happening, so it's hard to think about because we see in the last episode the AI and the robots are all like doing their nursing and doctoring jobs and things like that. And you think that that's really tough, but then you have in this episode a Human Gear actor, NG, and I started to think, acting is actually probably one of the tougher jobs that you can ask an AI to do because it's a lot of there's a lot of humanity in it, and they actually explore that too. Because we have this whole thing where the co-star, which is like a known actor, starts saying like, this guy's acting is robotic and it's shit, and I don't want to like co-star with this guy. That starts to spiral throughout the episode too.
Yeah, well, part of what starts that spiral is like it's like at night at one point, and Assassin like approaches the actor Owada and like wants to learn how to be an assassin. So like he thinks he's just a dude that wants to be an actor. So they're like going through the script, and he's like teaching him, and he's like, "Oh, you're so good. You're so much better than that robot that I'm working with."
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you're totally right.
So much more humanity. And then he goes, so he thinks he's getting fooled by the assassin
a human gear, thinking that he's a human. So
Yeah,
it reinforces for the viewer that Owada is just being an asshole.
Yeah, but he doesn't know.
No, he doesn't know, but
but
he's being bigoted towards the human gear.
But here's the thing: the assassin is not like the human gear. He's built differently.
No, actually, you're right, and you know how? Because you're absolutely right. And in that scene at night, like they're technically kind of rehearsing lines from one of his old movies, right? One of his assassin movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point, the assassin starts ad-libbing.
Yeah.
So that's why in the next scene, he actually tests NG by seeing if he can ad-lib.
Yeah.
But he can't.
He breaks NG.
Yeah, and then NG goes crazy. Oh, and then Owada's like, okay, that's it. I'm out. I quit. And then he quits, and he insults NG. He's like, these robots have no emotion. I can't work with them. And then Assassin's there, who's like a new apprentice, and he's like, what the? He's like,
yeah. He's like, what do you mean? Yeah.
No good. And then
like, I'm a
fuck you, human gear, and starts attacking. And that's when he turns NG right into the.
No, I don't think NG doesn't actually turn in this episode. He turns in the next episode. So actually, Assassin actually goes and actually wants to kill NG because his master said that he sucks. He's like, oh, you're terrible. I'm gonna kill you. And then I think Jin has to like stop him and be like, we don't kill our own kind.
Yeah, Jin does show up. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of really cool stuff from Assassin in this episode. I actually wrote down that I love Assassin as a bullet point.
I do really like him too.
Yeah.
So I found the Texas speech for Mammoth.
Yeah.
It's larger than life to crush like a machine.
I have no memory of that.
Me neither. I
It's
guess to rewatch
it's
it.
because he was in the cockpit when he was doing it. So he was like also talking like, "Oh, this is so cool," and it played in the background, so we probably just didn't hear it.
Sometimes the text to speech can be really low and hard to hear, especially like Vulcan's text to speech for his regular form, Shooting Wolf. It's like almost inaudible every time.
I have a lot of notes for this episode actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go
same
through
here.
them. We've pretty much covered the whole plot of the episode.
Right. So
Oh, I have one note. Can I just do my one note before your notes?
yeah.
It's one of your notes also because you pointed it out, so I'm gonna steal it.
Oh.
In when we first get introduced to the fact that it's like a movie, we just see like a scene being shot from the movie, and it's pouring rain in an alleyway,
Yeah.
and it's it's just in the same alley from Build where the owner finds Sento in the beginning.
Yeah.
Same alleyway, same rain.
Yeah.
Just great.
It's the exact same spot. That wasn't what I was going to say, but you are right. I do have that note. My note that I was gonna bring up was Pog real time Photoshop.
That is pretty cool.
They removed the earpieces from the human gear in real time as they're filming the series. So they're filming it and he's standing there and he has them on his ears, but in the screen that you can watch to just like preview it, the preview screen, he's got no modules on his ears. He just looks like a regular human. So I think it's really cool technology to like straight up remove something from a humanoid, but like just removes it completely, like real time live.
Do you know what year this is supposed to take place in? Out of curiosity.
The year 2019.
Oh, it takes place in the present year.
I don't think they ever say, but I think it's implied that it takes place in the year that it's implied usually that they take place in the year that they are aired.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I can't think of a season that takes place in the future. Like even Kiva takes place in 2008, but it flashes back to 1980. Was it?
It might have been in the 70s.
I think it was the 80s, but it the main story takes place like it makes sure you know that it's a flashback, right, and then it's taking place current year. I can't think of a season that I've seen or know about that takes place in the future. That
okay.
01, not 01, Zio being an exception. There's time travel in that, but it's an anniversary season, so it's kind of an exception. But yeah, so it kind of, but I mean, like, we also don't have the same AI technology that they have, right? So it's an alternate universe from our own.
I think it's something that our technology can accomplish sometime in the future, to be honest.
Zach, do you have as a note the hilarious Izu charade scene in there?
I was going to bring that up too.
I don't have it as a note. I have the overall note of why is Izu so cute. So that just encompasses all of that stuff.
That was one of my favorite scenes too. Just it's like Fua fighting Jin in the background, and they're like peeking through the opening to the outside, and then Izu's
the best part is that she's getting Aruto's attention, and she does the like right here, and then immediately they show up on frame inside of Aruto. So good.
And Aruto's trying to be an extra in the movie, so he can't like do anything. And every time he tries, he gets they have to call cut because he messed up the shot.
Oh, that was so good. That was an awesome scene. Actually, you know, in the ensuing chaos, I didn't actually realize this, and I think like when we were watching it, I was like, oh man, Owada's kind of like way too hard on Enji, so I kind of like didn't like him, but that he started to like grow on me, especially with his interactions with Assassin. And in the ensuing chaos of the combat, like the Kamen Rider fight, I don't think anyone that's filming realizes what's going on outside.
They did not hear anything. Like, you'd think a fight like that, like the boom mics would pick it up and they'd be like, "Yo, what's making all that noise?" Nothing.
So at
Not
one
a
point,
thing.
the set, like part of the set actually gets like destroyed,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, that must be the special effects team."
It
And then,
almost hits the vice president. He's laying there and it just misses him as it falls down.
yeah, but like Owada, like the actor, at that point was filming a scene where he's like holding a gun,
Oh, that's
and
right.
when the destruction takes place, he kind of just looks at the gun like, "Shit, did I do that?" It was pretty good.
It's like, what did you guys load this with?
Yeah.
Oh man, but Assassin was really good in this one too, and this was the episode where I was like, "Oh man, if we don't get like a Kamen Rider Dodo by the end of this, I'll be actually disappointed."
Assassin's disguises were real bad too.
Yeah,
They were just
yeah,
like awful. Like a really bad wig, like held on with a really dumb looking bandana. Just awful.
It
Oh.
was great.
Even like in the beginning when Assassin and Jin were just like watching Owada's like assassin footage,
mhm.
and Jin was just there like teasing and being like, "Pff, you sure lose a lot. You better study from this guy." And then like the eye roll that Assassin does, like, "Yeah, all right, like,
Yeah,
leave me
yeah.
alone." They're kind of like siblings. It was really,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it was
It's
really
good.
funny.
Yeah. So I think it's this episode that Izu confronts Fuwa about the footage that Yaiba leaked.
Yeah.
She confronts Fuwa about it, like she assumes that it was Ames because Yaiba did it, but Fuwa's like, nah, that wasn't us. So then he confronts Yaiba about it, and then we find out that Yaiba is working for Ames, but she also works for the American company Zaya. Fuwa and Yaiba have a conversation about it. Yeah, so we find out that that Yaiba's working for Zaya.
Yeah. Basically, Fua confronts her like, why'd you leak the footage? And she's like, yeah, I did it. Who do you think you are? I am. And then
Basically,
she's like, I might betray you in the future.
right.
He's like,
That was this episode.
who cares if it wasn't?
No, it was the next one, but we could just jump into
We're already,
that one.
talking about it. And then she, but it was, and then Fua's just like, well, if you do, I'll beat you.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was really like, yeah, that chemistry, that sexual tension, that's like top notch right there. That one
actually?
interaction.
Yeah, that actually did happen in this episode. You're right. That actually was this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was around this point in the story. So yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments between them. It's just like top notch. Yeah, I have Fuwa and Yaiba have such good chemistry. Cause they do. They're so good. Fuwa starts coming to terms with his Humagear being good thing. Starts thinking about maybe not all Humagears are bad.
He's like slowly getting all this development.
Oh,
every
so
episode.
yeah, so during the conversation with Yaiba, right? She says that her aim is to bring down Hiden intelligence. Because Fua's like what are you doing? We're not trying to bring down the company. We're just policing the AI. And she's like, no, I'm trying to bring down the company. So we find out that she's got ulterior motives, and we see who we finally get a face for the man that she's been working for the past 9 episodes.
Yeah,
we don't. I don't know if he says his name, but I think
we get it next episode.
We see his face and he says his catchphrase.
Yeah, he says something about 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think in the next episode we learn more about that guy, what his name is, and everything.
Yes.
But also we can like infer about Yaiba's motives and why she wants to take down human intelligence. But we'll get more on that when we.
Yeah.
We might as well jump into the next.
Yeah, we can just jump right.
there.
They're like it's a 2-parter thing, so we can go right into it for sure. Am I reading it? Okay. Hirobi revives Assassin. And he tells him that his new mission is to kill Awada, the actor he was mentoring under. They go to the set, and that's when Hirobi turns Enji into a Magia. They attack the set.
One of the coolest looking Magia we've
Oh
seen
yeah,
so far.
he was the beetle one, right? The blue
Yeah.
beetle looking one. Yeah, he's super cool. He's my favorite so far.
Scarab Blue.
Scarab Blue, yeah. Hirobi turns Enji into a Magia who fights Yaiba. Yaiba beats him, and she steals the Zetsume Rai's key. Aruto successfully convinces Awada to rejoin the cast of the show. He tells them a good story that inspires Awada. We finally meet Yaiba's boss. His name is...
I was just gonna say they make a new Enji after they destroy the
Right,
one.
right. They make a new Enji. That's right.
Awada's like train him up.
That
no
he has to
problem.
retrain. That's correct. We meet Yaiba's boss, whose name is Amatsu Guy. He then arranges for a meeting with Aruto and proposes to Aruto that he wants to buy Hiden Intelligence. So essentially, who Guy is he's the president of the Japanese branch of Zaya Enterprise. So it's an American company, but they have a Japanese branch that Guy is the president of. They also deal in like AI technology, but they don't create androids. But they do deal in AI technology.
Yeah, so this was also kind of to my point for the last episode. So Guy tells Aruto, like, sell me your company. And he's like, you better make a decision soon before it's too late. And as we know, Yaiba leaked the footage, which hurts the reputation of Hiden Intelligence, lowers their stocks.
Yeah.
Makes it cheaper or whatever. So like her goal to ruin the company is so that Guy can take it over, basically, is what I figure.
It's partially that, and partially like to wear down Aruto more and more, like because like he knows that Aruto is new, so it's more like just to wear down his resolve. The more scandals or whatever the company has, the more it's gonna take its toll on Aruto. So he's attacking him from all angles, essentially.
That whole conversation had me thinking: is Guy in cahoots with the Metsubo Jinrai boys? Yes or no? Because he actually like brings up, like specifically on your set, like go back and there might be something there. So how would he know about that? Because we find out what happened on set is that Assassin fulfills his mission of shooting Owada during filming. So whether or not he knew about that, I don't know.
Well, we have seen in the past that he has kind of predicted some of Metsubo Jinrai's moves and said it's going according to plan and everything. So if not in cahoots, he's at least like being watchful of both groups.
He's clearly, at the very least, he's got eyes everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's why he sent Yaiba to work with Ames, so that he can have a person on the inside of Ames, and then work closely with Hiden at that point as well. So he kind of just like is weaving his way through everything, seemingly.
Yeah, I've barely seen anything about Matsu Guy, and I hate him already.
To me, a Guy has the most punchable face on the show.
He does.
I look at him and I just hate him.
Guy, it might just be because he's a CEO and he just got introduced, but he's giving me some like early Dan Kuroto vibes from Ixaid, like when he was first introduced.
Sure.
I don't know if that's just because, hey, it's that, CEO character that's lurking in the background, but I remember early season Dan Kuroto was like kind of introduced the same way. And we know it's the same writer, so.
I liked Dan Kuroto, and I didn't like Guy, so.
He was introduced originally as like not a sketchy bad guy. He was like helping them out.
Yeah.
But then he very quickly turned around, and he became the worst.
Yeah. Right now, Guy is just a jerk who's trying to undermine Hiden Intelligence and buy their company.
Yeah, we'll
he's
see
he's
where that.
just a jerk. Like,
Yeah, we'll see how long he is kept relegated to just a jerk. My hunch is not very much longer.
I can say with confidence, I'm pretty sure he's just a jerk forever.
Okay.
Okay. Noted.
No, okay. I mean, I don't mean like he wouldn't be not a jerk, but exclusively a jerk is right now.
Okay.
And
Look, I'm not trying. I'm not trying to spoil anything. I hate Guy. That's all I'm saying. Is that hasn't changed, even on my
He's worse-
second watch through. I still hate Guy.
he's worse than early season Gintoku.
He is. He's worse than early season Gintoku because he gets he gets more screen time than Gintoku did. So
Early
yeah.
season Gintoku was pretty bad.
No, Guy sucks. Guy sucks. I
And
don't.
I say that as a guy who's out border right now is Kamen Rider Rogue.
Yeah.
Colors.
This is the episode though, Zach, that you were talking about earlier, where Aruto
Yeah.
does the Breaking Mammoth finisher.
Yeah, right. I brought that up earlier. Yeah, this is a really like the most OP moment for Horobi, where 01 is in his Breaking Mammoth form, does his finisher on Horobi, and Horobi is unfazed by a mech dropping itself on it from like very high up. And he's just completely unfazed by this attack.
Yeah, it's really cool that his Scorpion just comes in and just tanks that, no problem.
Yeah. It's crazy. Absolutely
what I find
insane.
Also really cool and refreshing about that, because it's like it goes against all the Tokusatsu I've ever seen, but 01 goes straight into his finisher. Like, he doesn't mess around at all. He just, Breaking Mammoth, Breaking Impact, bang right off the bat.
Yeah.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
not messing around here.
Yeah, which
cool.
is talking about it being the same writer in Xade. That was one thing that pissed me off so much in Xade, where they would just go like level 1 for no reason, or level 2. It's like, just use your strongest form. Use level 100, please.
That's true.
But I think we all wanted to watch more, because we had to, for one reason or another, stop watching for the night. But like, this episode leaves you on like the darkest tone, because the protagonists like Fua and Aruto get their asses handed to them by Metsubo Jinrai. The whole thing with Assassin shooting,
Yeah.
the actor,
Mhm.
Hidden Intelligence's reputation in the tank, and then we have like the cops just coming into the company, investigating everything.
Yeah.
It's just like everything's going wrong, and it's like, oh, how is it gonna get better?
Yeah, who knows? Well, Zach does, but
who knows? It could just get worse for Aruto and Hiden. At the beginning of this episode too, Horobi like tells Jin that he sucks and that Assassin is better than him, which like really messed up Jin.
He just kind of pouts and like,
I mean, he like didn't let it on, but it's just the beginning. I feel
if any of the bad guys are gonna make a turnaround and like be on the good guy side, it's definitely gonna be Jin. He's treated like absolute shit by Horobi. And,
yes.
He doesn't have a good time.
He does not have a good time. He just wants friends.
Like we said when we first started watching, like, he has heavy Peridot vibes, and Peridot is not someone I ever thought was gonna become a good guy. So yeah,
True.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
True.
I just really want Dodo to become
I
Kamen Rider.
it'd be great. I don't think he's gonna become a good guy, even if he does.
Even if he's a bad guy, if he becomes a Kamen, if Assassin becomes a Kamen Rider,
it's also possible, like, maybe Jin will turn on Horobi and then get killed by Horobi, and then an Assassin will get his driver. Maybe, who knows?
Because so the thing about Dodo's key is it's not a progress key, so he's not gonna be. It's not a Kamen Rider key or belt or anything. So
that's true.
I mean,
But in theory, one could be made.
Yeah, that's it. One could be
just would need,
made.
like
He would
He
need.
could get Jin's belt, like I said.
Yeah, he would just need a Force Riser. Like that's pretty much all he needs.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. There are a lot of Kamen Riders in this show. So.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. And I also would like to know a little bit more because there's no way he was just like a Humagear that was from the onset an assassin, right? This is something that Hirobi must have turned him into.
My assumption was Hirobi made him, like he made Jin, but maybe not because he doesn't have the same weird ears because he's got like the normal.
He's got Humagear ear modules. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have been one that like Hirobi stole and corrupted or something.
This is where I'm out of the conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give anything away. No, I just want to hear you guys speculate. I know the answer to that.
So he wouldn't have made like an assassin Humagear. He would have had like some sort of purpose beforehand. And his like mannerisms and everything he does, it doesn't speak to like I've always been an assassin, right? He's been something else. I just really curious to know what that is.
I think he's a base type otaku Humagear.
I don't think they make otaku Humagear, but
I'm just saying he gives off Kazumi vibes. Noted otaku Kazumi.
Noted otaku, yeah, true.
Is that why I like Assassin so much? Holy smokes.
He does give off
some Kazumi vibes.
He has heavy Kazumi vibes.
Yeah, he's really great.
Mr. Kamen Rider Grease border over there.
That's it that I had for my notes for this episode and for everything that we covered as a whole.
We talked about everything I've got. The only note I have for this episode that we didn't say is that Yaiba tells Aruto that she works for Zaya. She officially tells Aruto.
She brings him there.
Yeah, but like before that, she tells him that and then brings him to Zaya.
Yeah, and he's like, don't you work for Ames?"
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm hired on as like a AI consultant
I
or something.
I just figured it was of note because it's just more information that he knows now, so he's more up to speed with what's going on. Guy and Yaiba are not hiding who they are anymore. Like they're straight out like, we're here. So
yeah,
it's just that's the episode where that all goes down. Any final thoughts so far?
Final thoughts are I just can't wait to watch more. Really, I am loving this series.
Same
here. More assassin.
More assassin.
More assassin.
More Izu.
100 years assassin. More Izu. Yes. Please. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna call it there for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to catch this live, go to twitch.tv/agiantrobot and you can watch us film this live every Sunday at 5 p.m. EST. Or if you want to watch it on YouTube and you're watching live, you can search up A Giant Robot TV on YouTube and watch the recording there.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks again for watching, and we will see everybody in the next one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.